Hello and welcome back to the beautiful Sport Optics studio, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I'm your host, Jace, and bam, look at all these cool stuff that we're going to be talking about today. It's 2025. We got some new products that have came out in the last year or so since we've done our last hunting specific video, and guess what? We're going to talk about them. So as always, if you feel like you've learned anything or enjoy what you see today, make sure to like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Helps us out a ton. And in the meantime, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So to start off our 2025 hunting scope guide, I figured it would only be appropriate to talk about something that's a little more of a budget-friendly option in price only, not necessarily in performance. This was a really good scope for the money. But I mean, let's be honest, if there's ever really any serious barrier to entry for the sport that we all know and love, it can certainly be cost. You know, especially in today's day and age, things are getting kind of pricey, and this scope kind of helps alleviate that ever so slightly. So the Vortex Crossfire line has been around for a long time. It's pretty tried and true at this point. And this is essentially Vortex's newest iteration of that. They gave the Crossfire line a bit of a facelift. They did what I would consider to be noticeably improve the optics in these guys. They also upgraded the turret system, made it a little more beefy. And they were able to essentially keep the price down around the same as what it was previously, which is pretty cool. So for the guy that's looking to, you know, maybe he's just trying to get started, he's just trying to dip his toe in the water to see if this is something he wants to stick with. Maybe you have a son or daughter, you know, coming up that you're trying to get into the sport, or maybe the guy that, you know, hey, I want to go hunt once or twice a year. I don't want to get crazy. You know, this is a really good option for something like that, or really even beyond. This is a really solid scope for the price. So even if you decide you want to stick with it, you're not going to necessarily have to run out and upgrade from something like this. This is going to do, again, pretty darn well for the money. And I think it's just a really solid option worth talking about from Vortex. So kind of staying in that more budget conscious category while still maintaining excellent optics, we have the Burris full field. Again, just like those Crossfires, it's a line that have been around for a long time, very tried and true, well known, and it basically got a facelift. And we have these new offerings with the better turrets, the improved glass. They was able to reduce the size and weight on a lot of the offerings, some new reticles as well. And again, just a really solid scope that's going to perform pretty well out the box for the money. Another option that would be great for a kid, a spare rifle, you know, maybe a rifle you keep around to hand to your buddy if he's joining you and wanting to try out. Just a no frills, solid hunting optic from Burris. Staying within the Burris brand, we have the Veracity PH. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this and ooh and ah over this multiple times. We have at least one, probably more videos featuring this scope, and that's for good reason. I've actually picked one of these guys up myself. I absolutely love this thing. Now, it might be a little older than you know, a couple of the offerings that we're going to be talking about today. It debuted after SHOT Show of last year. But man, this thing hit the ground running and has been a slam dunk. Now, if you aren't familiar or haven't seen any of our other videos, which again, I recommend you check out, this guy contains some pretty sophisticated internals. You're able to use the Burris app to essentially put all your ballistic data into here. And when you're actually looking through the scope, you get a nice digital heads-up display. And as you adjust for elevation, it's going to tell you the actual exact yardage that you're going to be hitting at, you know, provided that you did put in your data correctly. It's going to give you wind estimation. It gives you energy estimations at distance. It's pretty darn cool. And then besides that, you also have just a really good functioning scope with excellent turrets, really good glass, and a really solid reticle option as well. So even if your battery dies or you get EMP'd or whatever it may be, you're still going to have just an overall excellent scope. All right, so moving into the well-known Leupold brand, we have the venerable VX6 HD and VX5 HD that have got the Gen 2 treatment. So these two lines of scopes have been around for a long time. They're still extremely popular, maybe even one of our most popular, I would say. And what they've essentially done with these is the main thing is going to be the CDS turret system. It's now a toolless adjustment for your you know, setting up your zero stop and all that fun stuff. They did beef up the internals to add to essentially even more reliability, and then they made this nice integrated, pretty aggressive throw lever on your magnification wheel, and some subtle changes for sure, but I think they're cool changes that customers have responded, you know, pretty well to, and again, just continue to make these an awesome scope that's going to be around for a long time to come. Now, for those of you who also may not be familiar or, you know, are wondering about the actual differences between the VX5 and the VX6 scopes themselves, the VX6 is a 6 times magnification ratio, and as you can imagine, the VX5 is a 5 times magnification ratio. So you get a little more magnification or higher magnification range in the comparable VX6s, and also the VX6s come with flip caps. So that's that. The Gen 2 VX5 and VX6 HDs from Leupold. So maybe I'm cheating a little bit with this offering because the Amplus 6 has been around for a little bit, but in the L Ballistic 2 reticle specifically, that's certainly a little on the newer side, and it's a pretty darn good reticle in a pretty darn good scope. The Amplus 6 is pretty well known to have some of the best, you know, European class out there, but they maintain a pretty aggressive price point on these guys, which is pretty cool. So for that reason, I figured it was at least worth mentioning again, even though it's been around a little bit. That L Ballistic 2 reticle is a little newer, and it's pretty cool, so I think it's worth looking at. The Leica Amplus 6. So moving on to one of our brands from one of our friends across the pond, we have the Zeiss V8 NA, which stands for North America. And what they've changed in a couple of these offerings for us Americans over here is they've changed the adjustment from centimeters or mils, however you prefer to say it, to MOA, which is still, I would say, primarily what most hunters are going to prefer these days. And they've also kind of simplified the reticles. They have what they call their AHR reticle, which is the Advanced Hunting Reticle, which has essentially some simplified subtensions for your windage and elevation holds. And then they have everybody's favorite plain old Plex as well, which I would say both of those options are going to do pretty well for most North American hunters. Again, another line that has been around for a long time. Literally some of the best glass in existence is going to come in this guy here. Now, of course, that does come with a bit of a price premium, but for the guy that's, you know, going on that once in a lifetime hunt, or he's willing to spare no expense to get some of the best glass and turrets that money can buy, man, the V8 is an excellent option from Zeiss. Last but certainly not least of our European offerings that we're going to be talking about today is the Swarovski Z5 Plus and the Z8i Gen 2s. Now, we have videos that go more in depth on both of these, so I encourage you to watch those as well. But these are relatively new offerings, and I think they're certainly worth talking about because they are some of the best options for the avid hunter. The Z5 is their updated version of their Z5s that have been around for a long time. They upgraded to 30mm tubes and kind of beefed up the turret system in these guys, as well as started to offer some new reticle options. And then in the Z8s, it's a little more subtle upgrades, but still worth talking about. They made this area in the back with the illumination buttons a little more user-friendly, as well as adjusting the throw lever to make it a little more aggressive and comfortable to use. And they beefed up the turrets in these guys as well. So again, just two more ultra solid, really excellent offerings from our friends over at Swarovski. Moving away from our traditional rifle scopes and into thermal, we have some pretty cool offerings from Wave. Now, this that you see right here, it's actually so new that it's not even out yet. You're getting a bit of a sneak peek for the first time here. Now, this is the Atris 650 Gen 2 LRF. Again, I know a little bit of a mouthful, but that kind of covers the gambit on this scope that fittingly has so much packed into it. You have your ergonomic controls over here, your focus up here, single button and knob menu navigation. Your LRF button is up here. Your laser rangefinder is actually built into the objective lens itself. You don't have like this goiter hanging off of the side somewhere. As you can see, it's more of a traditional rifle scope body. It comes with an ADM mount, which is an excellent mount. But if you wanted to change it out for whatever reason, because it is that traditional scope body, you can change it to essentially whatever rings you want in theory. 650 resolution on this guy, 12 micron processor. This thing has a bit of everything packed into it. Just a really solid thermal unit coming from our friends over at Wave. Now, moving on into something that, even if you're not into thermal hunting or night hunting, whatever you want to call it, everybody can make use of something like this, myself included. I don't go to a stand without a thermal monocular for my morning hunts. So when you could check in when it's still dark to see if anything's even out in your field or whatever have you. You can check if something's there without having to pick your gun up, even if you are using a thermal rifle optic. So something like this is pretty darn cool. This one specifically has the dual lens design where you can essentially kind of swap from a 25mm to a 50mm, depending on your personal needs, whether you need a little more magnification or whether you just need a massive field of view. The Wave Horizon is gonna have you covered on that. Keeping with thermal monoculars, I think it would be amiss if I didn't talk about the ATN Blaze Trek. And really the thing that's so cool about this, besides the fact that it's, I would consider it to be pretty budget friendly for a thermal, it's tiny. I mean, you can kind of see probably, I got big hands, but this thing is small. You could literally fit it in your regular pants pocket if you needed to. Now, it might not give you the clarity at distance like something like the Wave might give you, but just for the size, the weight, and for the guy that may not necessarily need to see 300, 400, 500 yards, this thing is pretty darn cool. Our final thermal offering that I wanted to talk about today is going to be the AGM Rattler V3 they're on now. And I just felt like it was really worth talking about this unit specifically because this is kind of another one of those spare no expense type of offerings. AGM has packed a lot of cool stuff in here. It's another 640 resolution unit, 12 microns. You got a LRF unit in this as well. Again, it comes with a really solid mount right out the box. And now, as you can see, this is your more thermally looking form factor. It's not going to have that traditional scope design. This is definitely going to be best suited on an AR platform, but for the guys out there that are using that platform specifically, they want a really solid unit. They're going to be getting a lot of use out of it, and they don't mind dropping the coin for it. AGM Rattler V3s are excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have made it this far in the video, I would like to thank you so much for your time. I really hope you learned something today. And if you did, again, please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. That helps us out a ton with the YouTube overlords. And if you have questions about anything we've talked about today, as well as our plethora of other options, please make sure to contact me, give me a call, shoot me an email, chat on the website, however you need to get in touch with me. I'm more than happy to talk with you at length about anything we've talked about today, anything else we have, and I can promise you I will help you to the best of my ability get in the optic that works best for you. And as always, you know, don't forget, Sport Optics is your #1 retailer for some of the finest optics available in North America. We have quite a bit in stock. We got closeout deals, we have open box items, we have all kind of stuff. So please look at the website, contact me. I'm here to help in whatever way I possibly can. So in closing, hunt season is here, ladies and gentlemen. So don't miss your chance to get in on this stuff and get that big game that you've been wanting. So again, thank you for being here. Read your Bible, learn to garden. God bless.